unique in that we're going to talk about the structure of a Toastmasters meeting, how it is designed to flow, some of the little tips and tricks and protocols that happen or should happen during a Toastmasters meeting. For that particular segment, we're going to call on a Toastmaster who actually, while she is yet to quite achieve her DTM, she actually precedes me in this organization, and she may not officially have the title, but she's most certainly a distinguished Toastmaster who I've had the pleasure of knowing for 8 or 9 years now. Please welcome Sonia Perez.
It's hard to follow Laura with all that funny stuff, but I think it was wonderful. Probably we used the podium quite a bit. The material that I will be covering is a lot of material, so I'm going to just go through a little bit of everything, a little bit of the material about the different roles, and then I would like for you to get more acquainted with your manual. I will be speaking about the roles that we have and how we should do them perhaps a little better. The communication and leadership program, maybe the new manual looks different. I have 2 of the older manuals. It has a section called About Your Club. And there it explains each one of these roles, and it gives a lot of really good tips. I know we have a lot going on, and a lot of times we just dive in and don't really read this stuff, but this gives us a lot of good ideas on how to do those roles properly. So what I would like to do is cover some of actually a little bit about all of the roles. We come to Toastmasters to learn and to become leaders, but we learn a lot of things that are helpful for our own personal growth. By coming to Toastmasters and listening, we're developing active listening skills, especially when we're doing an evaluation, because we need to be paying attention to a lot of details and remember, make notes, and still keep your eyes on the speaker. So that will be helpful even in our personal relationships. We also learn to discern information and look what is important and maybe not so important. So as we are doing the roles, a lot of times we think, what am I doing here? I'm not doing a speech. Oh, you're learning a lot even by one of the simplest roles that you can do in that particular meeting. We have in Toastmasters, in a traditional meeting, we have several roles. We have the role of the Toastmaster. I will mention them first and then go into detail. We have the grammarian, and in some groups we have an odd counter. In our group we have a grammarian odd counter as one person. We also have a timer. And today we do have a timer simply to keep us on track, not for timers report or any of those functions that we normally do. We also have a general evaluator. We have speaker evaluators. We have the table topic master. And of course, we have the prepared speeches of the speakers. The Toastmaster is what in regular lingo will be the master of ceremonies. And that role is critical to the success of the meeting because the Toastmaster needs to know the agenda very clearly, need to make sure that the time allotted for the different functions will allow the meeting to conclude in the hour that is allotted to do the meeting. Also, the Toastmasters, and also in order to do the meeting properly, needs to take the time to do proper introductions. Introducing the speaker well helps the speaker with the particular speech. In other words, now working on speech number 3 of the beginner's manual, on working on the topic of organizing your speech, and so forth and so on, will give us an idea of what to expect of the speaker, instead of just saying, now speech number 2 is Sonia. Sonia who? Do you know a little bit about Sonia? You know, a lot of that helps. So in order to help the Toastmasters, we should give them a little bit of bio about us and about the speech and so forth. So the Toastmaster will be critical in coming here a little early and making sure that the agenda has been filled and all the roles are taken. Now, we have the grammarian and the counter. The grammarian's role is also very important because the grammarian has 2 functions, main functions. One is to come up with the word of the day. The purpose of the word of the day is not to trick us into using a word that we can barely pronounce and much less know how to use. The purpose of the grammarian is to come up with a word that we don't use as frequently and that can expand our vocabulary. So we don't get too hung up on, oh my God, I'm the grammarian. What difficult, impossible word should I come up with? No, just come up with a word that should be in the more common vocabulary, but that we're not using as much. Introduce it, explain it, and then ask us to use that word in any part of the presentation that we're making. Now, the other function of the grammarian is to watch or listen to the proper use of language. Now, one of the things that the grammarian will do is, and a lot of times we say, we're counting those repeating words or repeating phrases that are not taking us anywhere. Also, they do the eye counting, which is, and so all of these things that we do while we're speaking because we don't know what to say is part of the role of the grammarian and eye counting. So that is an important role to help us learn. We don't do it to be critical and demeaning, we do it so we become aware that we're doing it. Because the report will tell us what we're doing by name, hopefully, and it will be as complete as we can. Now, that's easy to get distracted because you're so into the speech that you forgot that they're mispronouncing words. That would be new for us, art, especially the us, the Hispanics, that mispronounce words. It's okay. When I joined Toastmasters, my employer at the time was DuPont, and they encouraged me, it was part of my performance review, that I joined Toastmasters to get rid of that accent. And that was 27 years ago. I still have the accent. I'm not going to be DuPont. The next one that I want to mention is the timer. The purpose of the timers is because we need to keep track of time. If you're at a meeting in the office and you have a 30-minute meeting, and you have 3 people presenting, you can't have a person using 27 minutes of the 30 minutes. So you have perhaps 5 minutes to present, you need to move it along. So we time it. And the timer gives the report and let us know if we met the criteria. For us, because we also issue ballots and we give ribbons, awards, we have to meet the criteria of that particular speech or table topics in order to qualify. So that's what the timer will do. Now the timer should always sit in a location where we can easily see the lights, because they will give us the light when, green when we just got the 1 minute before, then the yellow light, and then the red light, and they explain all this role. It varies depending on the role. Now we have what we call a general evaluator. And a general evaluator is a very important function. Now, I have seen in some groups, and even here, guilty sometimes, that the general evaluator evaluates the speeches. No, 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 no. There's no observation about the speech. That's why we have speaker evaluators. The general evaluator should sit in the back, should keep an eye on everything that's going on. Did we start on time? Did we have noise that was distracting? Did we applaud until we get here, shook hands, and transfer to the speaker? Did we have the materials available? There's a lot of things that we want to keep track of so we know that the meeting is productive. And I told you this is a lot of material for 10 minutes. So if I go beyond a couple of minutes, it's not the norm, but I want to cover the material. Okay? The general evaluator will introduce the timer, will introduce the speaker evaluators, will introduce the grammarian, and then it will do a general evaluation at the end. So it's not the intent to evaluate the speeches, but the speaker evaluators, and they meet it as a whole. Then the speaker evaluator, that's a very important function, because most of us want to practice delivering speeches. And because the manuals have so many rules and things that we're supposed to do, the speaker evaluator should come early enough to meet with the speaker, get the manual, and say, okay, what speech you're working on? Okay, I'm working on number 7 or 9. What are the objectives? X, Y, Z, and then have the manual. Because with the manual, as they're observing and making notes for the oral evaluation, they also should complete the written evaluation and sign it. Now, when the evaluator comes to the front, it should keep in mind that we are going to say positive things and some things that could be improved. But at the end, we should wrap up with positive comments. So we should focus on the things that the speaker is doing that is part of public speaking. Did you do eye contact? Were you pacing back and forth and had all of us nervous thinking, would you just stand still? You're giving me a heart attack. Did the person speak with vocal variety? Did they put their hands on their pocket? Did they fidget with their hair? You know, there's a lot of things that we want to observe. We want to say what you did well. You were dressed properly. You came with a lot of energy to the front. Your opening was excellent. You got our attention. Da, 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 da. You distracted us a little bit with the hand on the pocket. You were a little distracting. You played with your hair, or you know, whatever. And give the speaker something to take to realize, next time I have to remember not to keep putting the hands on the pocket. So the purpose is to give the positive feedback, but also tell us what we need to improve on. Then finally, we have a role that we just love, and that's table topics. Table topics is intended to give everybody a chance to speak, but not the people that are already speaking in a role. And table topics should be in accordance to the theme, if there's a theme. If not, we ask questions that are interesting, that would have open-ended answers, and they're not trick questions. We don't have to do a dissertation here on whether or not we should let illegal aliens come in or stay or go or whatever. You know, sometimes we get so involved that it's intimidating. Ask a question that will give the person the opportunity to speak. The table topics master should not spend time doing mini speeches in between questions. The table topics master is supposed to introduce the topic and then ask, because the element of surprise is important for impromptu speeches, because I don't know if it's me that they're going to ask, so I have to pay attention and listen to what he's asking or she's asking. Oh, done, it's me. Come up to the front, do the table topics. Don't worry if it's not a great answer, because it's in the practice that you learn to think on your feet, to be concise, and to realize that sometimes your boss, your wife, the neighbor, somebody throws a question at you that you're like, okay, what do I say? So that's the purpose of that. So with that said, I encourage you to truly, truly look at your manual, go in the back. It's easy read, get familiar with the different roles, because that's what makes the group great. If each one of us know how to do our part and do it to the best of our ability. And with that, I pass it on to our